There is no doubt that 2020 and the beginning of 2021 will go down as one of the most challenging times of our lives. However, there are always people who rise to the challenge and make the best out of a crummy situation. I'm NBC7 reporter Joe Little. When this whole pandemic began, my boss specifically asked me to look for the positive stories in the community that could balance out all the negative news we had to share as well. I took my boss's challenge to heart. The following stories will introduce you to some of the best people I had the honor to meet during the pandemic. There was the theatrical costume designer who freelanced as a vaccination appointment hunter.
I am the vaccine whisperer.
The teacher who drew caricatures of all of his students.
I don't want to be in a classroom that doesn't have the kids in it.
And the craftsman who took a children's table and turned it into one of the most sought-after tables in San Diego County. It's a whirlwind of sawdust.
I'm a handyman, I do everything.
Out of his Chula Vista garage with a platoon of friends and family, he's grateful.
Just for them to give me, something to do, keep me busy, and not only that, but pay my bills.
Julio Perez hasn't been this busy in months.
So, it's growing, thank God.
Thank God for what's under the umbrellas.
He was the first one that answered and said, I can have tables ready in a week.
KACHA is the manager at RUDFORD'S in North Park. He desperately needed affordable picnic tables to move RUDFORD'S safely outside.
We're not throwing our hands up, that's for sure.
It started with one picnic table for my grandkids.
KACHA saw Julio's kids' table on the social media app OfferUp. He told his friends at other restaurants.
And now people calling me left and right saying, hey, I want the adult one.
Julio and company have cranked out dozens of tables the past week, ever since restaurants were forced to move outside. It allows Julio to give others a paycheck.
He's the one that's staining right now.
It allows managers like KACHA to give employees a paycheck.
One good deed to somebody else, can spiral into, 20 or 100.
Now it's growing.
Growing in outdoor dining areas around San Diego County. In Chula Vista,
we're proud. I'm happy.
Joe Little, NBC7. There's no telling how many tables Julio made during the pandemic, but it is safe to say thousands of San Diegans had a meal on at least one of them. Now, a lot of business people shared his spirit, do what you need to do to get by. LIZZY BROUGHTON found the oddest partner to keep her salon alive. In San Diego's East Village,
they gotta be a little scrappy and they gotta be a little smart. I cannot believe this is an actual reality.
Reality has changed for a lot of us.
I think I was a little bit in shock at first.
Staying inside wasn't cutting it for LIZZY BROUGHTON.
It was definitely a weird experience.
This is how her tailored hair salon will survive. But it's not just the great outdoors. It's the great outdoors in a dog run inside the Courtyard restaurant and bar.
It's crazy. We're literally standing in a dog park. We're in a dog park.
It started as a joke with Justin NAVALLE, one of Courtyard's owners.
I'm bringing the barber chairs over. We're gonna cut outside.
Justin was all in.
What more of a social experiment is this to get your haircut in a dog run?
Oh, really?
They're getting each other's backs.
And it made sense, it was a no-brainer.
So I think the more partnerships we have, the better, and we'll ride the wave together.
LIZZY admits the location is odd,
but we adapt.
Cutting hair and grabbing lunch in the East Village. Joe Little, NBC7. While LIZZY made it work inside Courtyard, there were other businesses, especially restaurants, that struggled pretty badly. Yet there was one Oceanside restaurant that took what it had and gave it to people who deserved it.
We love it and we're so excited to.
This has become habit for Rochelle Everett, dropping off free burritos for doctors, nurses, and firefighters at Tri-City Hospital in Oceanside.
And support them, show them that we care.
Rochelle is the owner of Senior Grubby's, also in Oceanside.
Those kind of things make you go home and feel really good.
And it's tough to get that feeling when a global pandemic has decimated your own business.
Oh, it's frustrating. We can't wait to have our guests back.
This and this are all clean rooms.
Guests like Mark Davis, who regularly eats at Senior Grubby's.
They've lost most of their staff.
Mark is the CEO for Precision Electric, a commercial electrical contractor.
This is a project, it's a lab.
His company's clients include 4 of the labs currently working on a coronavirus vaccine.
We're a part of the machine.
Rochelle is his niece, and he knows she makes meals for frontline workers.
Yeah, and I said, well, let's make a donation too. We like to give back.
Mark gave Rochelle $1,000. partly for Senor Grubby's,
Very small lab.
all of it to keep the machine moving.
He gave us a lump of money for us to be able to go and spend it how we thought that it should be best spent.
Oh, it feels great. And hopefully they can share it with other people.
Perfect.
You guys are awesome.
A circle of goodwill, supporting medical workers who support the entire community.
Using that money for good, it makes you feel like you're doing the right thing at the end of the day.
In Oceanside,
Well, I'm sure that I'll see you again before this COVID-19's over, okay?
Joe Little, NBC7. So many people like Senor Grubby showed their love for frontline workers, but even more people donated food and money to people who were simply crushed by the pandemic. And some of those saints were the smallest people with the biggest hearts.
Before the pandemic, we were feeding about 350,000 people a month, and that number has now spiked to about 600,000.
Their faces are weary. The pandemic is exhausting and unkind. Hundreds of people looked for kindness in Miramar Friday. They found it at the San Diego Food Bank's newest pantry.
And we're here to say, no, it's okay to ask for help, and we'll weather the storm together.
CEO Jim FLOROS says he's disappointed to have to help so many people, but he's happy to do so. He says every donated dollar turns into 5 meals.
But it's great that when someone gives us $1,000, that's 5,000 meals.
More than 20,000 meals this year have come from unique benefactors.
Teamwork makes the dream work, pow!
Say hello to the unexpectedly energetic Erickson Elementary Student Council. Twins Chloe and Clarissa Aguilar are sandwiching Lizzie Weaver.
It makes me feel really awesome.
She's the president.
They take their jobs very seriously.
RHODA STEPHENS-YODER is their faculty advisor. The Erickson 4th grade teacher helped the students organize 2 virtual fundraisers in their Mira Mesa neighborhood since December.
The goal is to help as many people we can.
Lizzie says they raised more than $4,000. Remember, $1 can buy 5 meals.
5 meals? I mean, the food bank does an outstanding job.
FLOROS says the students get all the credit.
These are tomorrow's leaders, and they really have it ingrained that giving back to the community, being part of the solution is part of that.
We can make a difference if we work together.
Lizzie says her school is now teaming with nearby Sandberg and Hage Elementaries to raise even more money in a 3rd fundraiser.
As much as we can. Yeah, as much as we can. Like maybe $1 million.
Immeasurable kindness for people who need it.
You're welcome.
In Miramar, Joe Little, NBC7. Those food pantries were a godsend for thousands of families, but none of those pantries function without incredible volunteers like Dion Williams. This is less than 2 minutes in the life of Dion Williams. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Dion helps organize dozens of volunteers and thousands of pounds of food to put in the trunks of cars belonging to people who need a little help. Dion says it's hectic and a lot of work making sure they help as many families as possible. Dion is the director of programs at the Community Through Hope. He and other volunteers try to make sure no one goes hungry. A daunting task during the coronavirus pandemic when record numbers of people continue to go without work, money, or food. Dion will carry bags of fruit to dozens of cars in line today. It's a small part of the 1 million pounds of food the nonprofit has distributed since the coronavirus pandemic began. This Chula Vista warehouse is filled regularly with supplies from Feeding San Diego and the San Diego Food Bank. Dion admits he's disappointed so many families line up on these days, but he's happy he gets to help. He says they've fed 25,000 families every month since the pandemic crippled California. They'll likely feed thousands more before this is all over. In Chula Vista, Joe Little, NBC7. People like Dion were everywhere. They were at the food pantries, they were at the COVID testing sites, and they were certainly at the vaccination sites.
I'm going to give you guys some very valuable information. Please listen up.
If vaccination super sites had entertainment directors,
Give yourselves a round of applause for getting this life-saving vaccine. Thank you, guys.
they'd want Julian Ospina.
To me, this is my call of duty to my community. We know that this is a very devastating virus. That doesn't mean take the mask off and let's run off to the casinos, to Tijuana, to LA.
The Navy veteran volunteered at this Chula Vista location when the doors opened 3 weeks ago.
I was driving down the street and I saw the tent come up and I knew that they were going to open a vaccination supercenter. You guys were issued a vaccination card.
He found his way to the observation area where people go for 15 minutes after getting their vaccine.
Any other questions?
And that's where he's needed most.
Can I have a glass of wine, some beer, a tequila? Yes. But if you do, you will have a side effect. And it's this if you have too many of them. Well, of course it makes you feel good. That's what we want. We want people to come in here and have a good experience. Do not try to run away. I will catch you.
Julian found humor helps settle the nerves.
That is the main goal, is to reassure them that this is a good thing. And some people get it even worse.
In English and Spanish.
Well, I am a paramedic, and I also have degrees in psychiatric rehab, so I knew that I could use those combined to help people here. Very simple process.
He has a PhD in psychiatric rehabilitation. That makes him Dr. Julian Ospina.
For all my brothers and sisters who served in the armed forces out there, thank you for your service.
But here, Julian says he's just a volunteer.
We're all trying to do the best for our community. It takes a village to save a village.
And he says he'll be here caring for his village until the virus is gone.
I am not going to sit around and be a spectator.
Just a super site entertainment director in Chula Vista.
All right, thank you guys very much. And please stay safe.
Joe Little, NBC7. Now, in order to meet Julian and get that shot, you needed to make an appointment. And we all know that was kind of a pain in the butt. And that's where our theatrical costume designer comes into play. Driving to your appointment is the easy part. Booking that appointment online has proven to be much harder. Sometimes you need someone to sew it all together for you. That's where Janet Pitcher comes in.
I'm a very busy person. I like to be busy.
And Janet has tried staying busy in her Murrieta home studio.
I designed this to be able to do my clay jewelry and my costumes.
The threads, usually sewn into theatrical costumes in San Diego, now go into hundreds of masks for hospital workers and ones she now sells online.
It was kind of fun to see some of the fabric from shows go into some of these masks.
Like many people, Janet also learned a new skill in her solitude away from the theater.
Now I'm really good at working the internet.
She got her first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine at Petco Park, but says her second appointment was canceled 3 times.
So there's all kinds of ins and outs.
She scrambled to book her own before it was too late.
And so that's kind of where I started figuring out how to work all of the different sites to find a second vaccine.
Then she booked appointments for her family.
Oh, look, I found one in Oceanside.
Then her closest friends.
And then it kind of steamrolled from there, where more friends realized, well, okay, I'll help this friend and I'll help this friend.
In between masks, she'll look at one of her iPads.
The best tip is really midnight, 12:05 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. and then knowing which zip codes to search under.
Janet says she booked upwards of 30 appointments.
The pharmacies are the easiest to book, honestly.
She says she taught many more to do their own.
I'm the vaccine whisperer. Self-titled, but...
A good title for someone who enjoys giving back.
I feel so good.
But she does hope all this free work pays off.
I want everyone vaccinated because my grandkids live in Canada, and Canada's not letting me in until we get our numbers down.
The vaccine whisperer will book as many appointments as she can to get us there, get her back to the theater, and get her back to her family.
It'll be amazing. It'll be wonderful.
In Murrieta, Joe Little, NBC7. It will be wonderful once this is all over. It's been tough for everyone, especially children who maybe didn't understand what was going on, and they were so bored.
It's all taped off. I can't even walk onto the play structure.
Someone better help Gabriel HART ASAP.
I just am losing my mind because I can't talk with friends.
Can't go outside and play.
Yes, exactly.
You know what? Throw grandma a rope too.
I want to go back to work.
This National City family is one of thousands cooped up by coronavirus.
Well, something for them to do would be great.
Flying in with capes on their backs.
All right, I'm loading.
Art for Learning San Diego, a nonprofit that usually works with this age group.
Everything from National School District to the Juvenile Court and Community Schools.
Carrie Javeri and Adrian Valencia can't teach those kids in person, so they're emptying their closet and making hundreds of art supply bags to give to students in National City.
I feel like this is a really scary time right now.
They need something really positive to focus on.
I've always found that making art helps center me, helps
deal with the feelings of anxiety and confusion and uncertainty that I think we're all feeling.
This feels good. This feels like if I can just brighten somebody's day a little bit, this is worth it.
I think it's a great idea because some people can't go and buy coloring books, crayons, markers, nothing.
Ladies, help is on the way. You look like you're about to snap.
Dude, you have no idea.
Joe Little, NBC7. There were a lot of parents who were about to snap. I was admittedly one of them. However, I found a lot of hope in a few of our schools. There were some teachers who really missed their students and did everything they could to reach out to them. El Cajon Valley High School is way too quiet. The hallways are clear, only a few teachers are here, including Brent Ford and Emilio Martinez in the Arts, Media, and Entertainment studio.
6 months is a long time to go without students being on campus.
This is where Ford backed into a new way of reaching his students. He and Emilio were goofing around with an old Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine set when they accidentally streamed it live on YouTube.
Hey, you over there, get on distance learning.
Amazingly, people watched.
Give you a shout out over here. And then people were like, can you please do more of these videos?
What better way to reach teenagers than through YouTube?
I thought if I could be goofy enough to infiltrate the kids' concepts, then they could get some distance learning.
What is Mr. Ford doing?
Yeah, hey, it's Brent Ford with Distance Learning Bus.
The Mystery Machine became Brent Ford's Distance Learning Bus.
Get on the distance learning bus. Let's have a good time with distance learning. It's all we've got right now. Victoria?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, there's kind of something here. I can't really put into words what it is.
Assistant Principal Mike Falconer was on board.
Get on the distance learning bus, Kim, quick, jump on!
Just in a very creative and positive way, get information out to kids.
We're getting ready for college applications.
And also simply reach their students. Mr. Ford has interviewed the superintendent and the school's principal.
Hey, hold on, take a left here, Brent.
Okay, whoa.
And while the distance learning bus has been fun,
Which way is left?
There you go.
Okay.
Ford says he'll park it for good to have his students back.
Absolutely. I mean, I became a teacher not because I like to sit here by myself on the distance learning bus, but because I love interacting with the teenagers.
On the distance learning bus,
See you, Miss Roll Down.
Joe Little,
Get on the distance learning bus.
NBC7. And sometimes YouTube doesn't cut it. You really need that face-to-face time.
Hello, class. I hope you are doing well.
Inside Discovery Charter Elementary,
Right off the bat, I'm going to share what our schedule's looking like today.
Scott DePedro's fifth graders are still working out the kinks.
Oh, I think we're okay. I worked on it a little bit after school.
It's a brave new world.
We've never done this before. We're trailblazers, and these first few weeks is all about problem solving.
It's hard for DePedro to keep the wheels from coming off the wagon.
We actually did coaching, didn't we? This is really happening. These kids are going to be here. And they're not just going to be here and be like, they're going to be here and be excited. That's a great answer, Naomi.
However, he learned quickly his students are resilient.
Okay, just like you do in the morning.
They're already digitally tough.
You like the idea of eating human flesh and walking around forever?
He's the one who needed help.
And as a teacher, I need that social emotional. I need that connection.
It went beautiful.
It went beautiful. That's awesome.
So DePedro resorted to a skill he used years ago while working at SeaWorld.
And what I'm going to do from now on,
He drew a caricature of each of his 52 fifth graders
it's about 5 minutes per face.
and placed them at their desks.
Excellent, Edwin. Thank you, Jacqueline. All right. They're all smiling. They're all looking right at me. They're all paying attention. Jude, your hand is still raised. Is that still raised from earlier?
I accidentally still had it open.
That's okay, buddy. We're going to work on that this year, okay, Emily?
Okay.
Parker, Landon, Serenity, and Roman, the hair, the eyes, the cowlicks.
Everyone mute right now.
It's just enough of a connection.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, I have two questions.
I was just sitting there thinking to myself, I don't want to be in a classroom that doesn't have the kids in it. Thank you. Glad you're here.
Now, DePedro doesn't have to.
Effort is everything. All right, guys.
At Discovery Charter Elementary School, Joe Little,
Bye.
Bye.
NBC7. That story with Scott DePedro is easily one of my favorites from 2020. But this next little guy, he's easily one of my favorite dudes of all time.
This has been a 3.5-year-long journey.
That's more than half of Liam Vest's life.
I really want to go to school but it's gonna be online.
Liam will start kindergarten at Camarena Elementary in Chula Vista later this month. However, he was outside his new school Monday to mark his latest milestone.
Well, yeah, because I fight cancer.
He has had just over 100 chemotherapies throughout his journey.
He's only 5.
He is very tough. I mean, he has been in the hospital and had more procedures than any adult I know.
Liam's mom, Allison, says he was diagnosed with leukemia 3 years ago. He was in remission shortly after his treatments began.
That was tremendously just the best news, and it was right before his dad left for a deployment. This morning was his last chemo infusion.
A cast of heroes and fans helped mark that last infusion with a parade outside Liam's new school.
I kind of like that blue Corvette.
Thank you.
The parade lasted more than 30 minutes as Imperial forces covered his back. A fitting tribute for a young man who dealt with more than most of us could handle.
Through it all, he never complained, he never wavered. He's been just absolutely amazing.
Grandma, Grandpa!
The welcome wagon ended when the Chula Vista police arrived. School resource officers presented Liam with a plaque marking his membership into a club of heroes.
Congratulations. We're so proud of you.
A fitting tribute for a young man who has already accomplished so much.
It's fine with me.
In Chula Vista,
That's so cool.
Joe Little, NBC7. A lot of us had a cakewalk compared to Liam, but that little dude gave me so much hope, which was hard to find during the pandemic. Sometimes we struggled to find the positive. Other times, it was as easy as going on a morning walk. Times are still weird. People are still staying home, going for walks, looking for joy. That includes Dana Peterson's family.
When we would go for walks, you'd want to talk to people you normally would have just maybe passed by.
Conversations often touch on the pandemic.
I think it's challenging to be positive.
Challenges Dana took to heart.
Not as difficult as I thought they would be.
Neighbors she never met before were coming up to talk.
Mostly to comment on my chalkboard. Hi, Donna! I had this chalkboard that was taking up space that we weren't using, and I thought I was going to get rid of it, and then I thought maybe I'll just set it out front and start writing some notes on it. So every day I write a new message.
Did you call your mom? Turn up the volume and dance.
Great day to build a fort.
The chalkboard even welcomed the new school year for Dana's daughter.
She was like trying to make people feel happy about it.
I wanted to bring happiness. I wanted to cheer people up.
Neighbors took note.
I mean, in the middle of all the chaos, it's nice to walk by a house that has a positive message.
A positive message for her new friends.
Spread joy today.
Think about all the different ways that you can spread joy.
And you can't remove the negativity, but you can enhance the positivity.
Spreading joy during these weird times.
I'm just going to keep it going.
Joe Little.
Until maybe my board falls apart.
NBC7. The board didn't fall apart, neither did many of us. But this pandemic has been rough. It's been downright horrible for some people. Hopefully we can push through to the end of this and still carry some of this positivity with us. For NBC7, I'm Joe Little. Thanks for watching.